10 years ago, I pushed a Korean boy out of the path of a car, driven by men who wanted to kill him for the color of his skin. The impact shattered 3 ribs and destroyed my future. My mom spent her last years drowning in the medical debt that came after. He disappeared to Seoul, and I thought I'd never see him again. Then a letter arrived. I never stopped looking for you. I found you 6 months ago, but I've been too afraid to reach out. You saved my life, Tanya. Please let me try to give you yours back. Dae-ho Ong. The boy I saved had become the CEO of a billion-dollar empire, and he wanted to meet. Chapter 1. The letter sat on my kitchen counter for 3 days before I opened it. Cream-colored paper. Expensive. The kind that whispered money even before you read what was written on it. My name in elegant script on the envelope. Tanya Dupree. I'd been working a double shift at Mercy General when it arrived, forwarded from my old apartment, the one I'd been evicted from 2 months ago. Now I was sleeping on Monica's couch, wearing scrubs I'd washed in her sink, trying to figure out how I'd ended up 26 and completely broke. You gonna open that or just stare at it? Monica set down 2 mugs of coffee, the cheap kind we could actually afford. It's been haunting my counter since Tuesday. It's probably a scam. But my hands were already reaching for it. Girl, scammers don't use paper that nice. She was right. I slid my finger under the seal, felt the weight of quality stock, and pulled out a single page. The handwriting was careful, precise, like someone who'd written this letter a dozen times before getting it right. Dear Tanya, you don't know me anymore. I'm not sure you ever really did. We spent one night together 10 years ago. The worst and best night of my life. You were 16, walking home from your job at the grocery store. I was 16, running from men who wanted to hurt me for being Korean, for being foreign, for existing in the wrong neighborhood. You didn't hesitate. When that car swerved toward me, you pushed me out of the way. You took the impact meant for me. I held your hand in the ambulance while you told me I'd be okay, even though you were the one bleeding. My family took me back to Seoul the next day. My father's lawyers tried to send you money, a check that was more insult than compensation. I know your mother refused it. I'm glad she did. What they offered was nowhere near enough, and the strings attached were designed to silence you, not help you. I tried to find you after that, but you'd moved. Your phone was disconnected. You disappeared. I've been searching for 10 years. I found you 6 months ago. I know that sounds like something from a thriller, not a letter. But I was afraid. Afraid you wouldn't remember me. Afraid you'd hate me for disappearing. Afraid I'd waited too long and you'd moved on completely. You saved my life, Tanya, and I ruined yours in the process. I know about your mother, the medical debt, how she worked herself to death trying to pay it off, how you gave up your scholarship to Emory, how you've been surviving instead of living. I want to fix it, and it's not out of pity. It's because I owe you everything. I'm the CEO of Ong Global now, and I'd like to meet, if you're willing. Coffee, somewhere public, wherever you feel safe. No pressure, no obligations, just 2 people who survived something terrible together. My number is below. I hope you'll call. Dae-ho. The coffee mug slipped from my hand. It shattered on Monica's linoleum. Tanya. She grabbed my arm. What's wrong? Who's it from? The boy I saved. My voice sounded far away. He found me. I didn't call right away. I spent 2 days Googling him instead. Dae-ho Ong, 26, CEO of Ong Global since age 23, youngest in the company's 70-year history. Harvard MBA, Forbes 30 under 30, face like a movie star, and a reputation for being brilliant and ruthless in equal measure. Net worth, $3.2 billion. I lived on Monica's couch. The distance between us was more than money. It was galaxies. But I remembered him. God, I remembered him. Bleeding on the wet pavement, his hand gripping mine so hard I thought my bones would break, his eyes terrified and grateful and so young. "What's your name?" I'd asked him in the ambulance. "Dae-ho. It means great tiger." His accent had been thicker then. "What's yours?" "Tanya. It means priceless." He'd smiled even through the pain. "Perfect." Then his family had descended. Expensive suits and lawyers and a check my mother had refused to even look at. $5,000 with a 10-page legal agreement requiring us to sign NDAs, waive all future claims, and essentially absolve the Ong family of any responsibility for what happened. My mother had torn it up in front of the lawyers. "My daughter is worth more than hush money," she'd said, "and that boy deserves better than a family trying to bury what happened to him." The lawyers had left. The Ongs had taken Dae-ho to Korea. And the medical bills had come anyway. $60,000 worth. Bills insurance wouldn't cover. Bills that piled up while I was in recovery. Missing scholarship deadlines. Watching my future slip away. My mother had worked 3 jobs trying to pay them off. The stress had triggered her heart condition. She'd died when I was 22, still owing $60,000 to hospitals that didn't care. I'd been paying it off ever since. Slowly. Painfully. $100 here, 50 there, watching the interest accumulate faster than I could manage. And Dae-ho had known. For 6 months he'd known. That should have creeped me out. Instead, it made me curious. I called him at midnight on a Thursday. Figured a CEO would be asleep. I'd leave a voicemail, keep control of the situation. He answered on the first ring. "Tanya." The way he said my name, like he'd been practicing, like it mattered. "You called. You said to." "I know, I wasn't sure you would." He sounded nervous. Dae-ho Ong, billionaire CEO, sounded nervous talking to me. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. I haven't agreed to anything." "Fair." A pause. "Did you read the whole letter?" 3 times. And I have questions." I pulled Monica's blanket tighter around me. "The attack. Your letter said they wanted to hurt you for being Korean, but I remember. It was more than that. They were organized. They had a car." His breath caught. "You remember?" "I remember everything." The screech of tires. The slurs they'd shouted. The way Dae-ho had looked back at them, recognition in his eyes. You knew them. Silence. Then, it was a hate crime, targeted. There were others, Korean international students at my school. They'd been harassing us for weeks. That night it escalated. His voice went flat. They were arrested, tried, convicted. It was a whole news story locally. Teens target foreign students in brutal attack. You really don't remember? I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. Concussion. By the time I got out, my mom had already accepted a job in Macon. Cheaper cost of living, closer to her family, better for recovery. We moved before I could follow up. That's why I couldn't find you. He let out a long breath. I tried, Tanya. I sent letters to your old address, called the hospital. But HIPAA meant they couldn't tell me where you'd gone, and your mother. Wanted to protect me from reporters, from lawyers, from anything that would remind me of that night. I closed my eyes. She disconnected our old phone, made me delete my social media, said we were starting fresh. So you disappeared, and you went back to Seoul. My father insisted, said America was too dangerous, that I needed to focus on the family business, not on... He stopped. Not on what? Not on the girl who saved my life and then vanished. His voice dropped. I've thought about you every day for 10 years, Tanya. Every single day. My heart was racing. That's a long time to think about a stranger. You're not a stranger. You're the person who saw someone in trouble and didn't hesitate, who sacrificed everything for someone you didn't even know. A pause. You're the bravest person I've ever met. Stranger doesn't cover that. I didn't know what to say to that. Coffee, he said finally. That's all I'm asking for. 1 hour. You pick the place. If you hate me, if this is weird, if you never want to see me again, fine. At least I'll know I tried. Why now? You said you found me 6 months ago. Why wait? Because I was terrified. The honesty in his voice was startling. I'm a CEO. I run a company with 70,000 employees. I negotiate billion-dollar deals. But the thought of calling you, of hearing you tell me to leave you alone. He laughed, shaky. I've been a coward. But you're not a coward now. No, now I'm just desperate. Another pause. Please, Tanya, 1 hour, that's all. I thought about my mother, about the debt, about 10 years of barely surviving. I thought about the boy who'd smiled at me in an ambulance and said my name meant something precious. Saturday, I heard myself say. 2 p.m., there's a coffee shop near Piedmont Park. Java Jive, you know it? I'll find it. And Day-ho? My voice was firm. Come alone. No assistants, no security, no lawyers, just you. Just me, he agreed. I promise. Chapter 2. Saturday came too fast. I borrowed a dress from Monica. Nothing fancy, just something that didn't scream, I've been living on your couch. I did my hair. Put on makeup I couldn't really afford. Told myself this was just coffee with someone from my past. Not a date. Not a business meeting. Just closure. I got to Java Jive 20 minutes early and ordered the cheapest thing on the menu. Sat in the back corner where I could see the door. He arrived exactly at 2. I recognized him immediately, even though he'd changed. Taller. Broader. The scared 16-year-old had become a man who wore a simple black sweater and jeans like they were a uniform. His hair was styled but not overdone. No jewelry? No watch that cost more than a car. He was trying not to look like a billionaire. He failed. Everything about him screamed money and power and a world I didn't belong to. Then he saw me, and his whole face transformed. The smile was the same. Exactly the same as 10 years ago. Tanya. He crossed to my table, and I stood automatically. We faced each other awkwardly. Too formal for a hug. Too familiar for a handshake. Day-ho. You look... He stopped. I was going to say you look exactly the same, but that's not true. You look tired. Wow, really know how to charm a girl. I meant... He ran a hand through his hair. I'm sorry. I'm nervous. You look beautiful. You always did. But you look exhausted, and that's my fault. That's 10 years of medical debt and working double shifts. Not your fault. It is, though. He sat when I did, didn't order anything, just looked at me like I was something precious. If I hadn't been in that neighborhood, then those guys would have hurt someone else, or you'd be dead. I took a sip of my coffee. I don't regret saving you, Day-ho. I regret what came after, but not that. His eyes were dark, intense. I regret everything that came after. Your letter said you want to fix it. I do. How? I leaned forward. You can't give me back 10 years. You can't bring my mother back. You can't undo any of it. No, but I can pay off your debt. All of it. Every cent you owe to every hospital, every collection agency, every creditor. He pulled out a folder. Of course, he'd brought a folder. I can set up a trust in your mother's name for other families dealing with medical debt. I can fund your education if you want to go back to school. I can... Buy me. The words came out harsh. He flinched. No, never that. Then what? Charity? Guilt money? Repayment. His voice was steady. You gave me my life. Let me give you the future you deserved. I can't accept that. Why not? Because I'll owe you. You don't owe me anything. I owe you. He opened the folder. This is a job offer. Executive assistant position at On Global. $85,000 a year. Full benefits. Housing allowance. Standard corporate package. I laughed. Couldn't help it. I'm a nursing assistant with an incomplete college degree. I'm not qualified to be anyone's executive assistant, let alone yours. You're qualified because I say you are. The board works for me, not the other way around. He slid the papers toward me. This is separate from the debt repayment. That's a thank you gift. This is a job. Real work. Real salary. Doing what? Coordinating my schedule, attending meetings, handling confidential matters, traveling with me when needed. He met my eyes. Being someone I can trust absolutely in a world where everyone wants something from me. You don't know if you can trust me. Yes, I do. You proved it 10 years ago. His hand moved across the table, almost touched mine, then pulled back. I know this sounds insane. I know we barely know each other. But I've been searching for you for a decade, Tanya. And now that I've found you, I don't want to let you go. That's not a business relationship. No, he admitted. It's not. But I'm being honest about that. I'm not trying to trick you or manipulate you. I'm offering you a job because I need someone I can trust. And yes, I'm hoping that working together will give us a chance to actually know each other. As adults. As equals. We're not equals. You're a billionaire. And you're the woman who saved my life. I think that makes us pretty even. He smiled. And God, it was unfair how beautiful he was. 1 year. Work for me for 1 year. If you hate it. If I'm a terrible boss. If this whole thing is a disaster. You walk away with $85,000 and all your debts cleared. If it works out. He shrugged. Maybe we become friends. Maybe we become more. Maybe we just become two people who survived something terrible and found a way to help each other heal. I looked at the contract. At the salary that was more than I'd made in 3 years. At the benefits package that included health insurance I desperately needed. At the debt repayment agreement that would free me from the weight I'd been carrying since my mother died. This is too much, I whispered. It's not enough. His voice was fierce. It will never be enough for what you gave me. But it's a start. I thought about Monica's couch, about the collection calls, about the future I'd given up, about the boy who'd spent 10 years looking for me. I need time to think about it. Take all the time you need. He stood. My number's on the contract. Call me when you decide, or don't call and I'll have my answer. He turned to leave. Daeho? He looked back. Why did you wait 6 months? Really? His expression was raw, vulnerable in a way that made my chest ache. Because I was afraid that you'd look at me and see the person who ruined your life. Because I didn't know how to approach you without seeming like I was trying to buy you. Because... He stopped. Because I've been half in love with the memory of you for 10 years, and I was terrified the real you wouldn't live up to it. And now? Now I'm more terrified that you will. That you'll be everything I remembered and more, and I still won't deserve you. He left before I could respond. I sat in that coffee shop for 2 hours, staring at the contract, trying to decide if I was brave enough to take a chance on the boy I'd saved. The boy who'd become a man who looked at me like I hung the moon. Chapter 3. I called him 3 days later. I'll take the job, I said when he answered, but I have conditions. Name them. He sounded breathless, hopeful. I keep my independence, I pay my own rent with my salary. The debt repayment is separate, and I sign a document saying I'm not entitled to anything beyond that. Clear boundaries. Agreed. I'm your employee, not your project, not your charity case. If I mess up, you fire me like you would anyone else. You won't mess up. But if I do, then yes. Same standards as everyone else. And this, whatever this is between us, we don't act on it while I'm working for you. Professional lines stay clear. Silence. Then, that's going to be difficult. I know. But you're right. It's the smart thing to do. He sighed. Okay, professional only, I promise. Then I start Monday? Monday. I could hear the smile in his voice. Welcome to On Global, Tanya Dupree. Try not to let me destroy your company. If you destroy it, at least it'll be interesting. I hung up and stared at Monica, who'd been listening to the entire conversation. Girl, she said slowly, you just agreed to work for a man who's been in love with you for 10 years. He's not in love with me. He's in love with the memory of me. And when he figures out the real you is even better? Then we'll deal with it, professionally. Monica laughed. This is either the best decision you've ever made or the worst. There's no in-between. She was right. I just didn't know which one yet. Chapter 4. The Ong Global building was all glass and steel and intimidation. 73 floors of people who belonged in this world. I didn't. My first day, I wore the one professional outfit I owned, the blazer from Goodwill, the pants that were almost the right length. I'd washed my hair twice, put on the minimal makeup I could afford, and tried to look like someone who deserved to be there. I failed before I even walked through the doors. The lobby was marble and modern art, and a receptionist who looked me up and down like I'd tracked mud on her pristine floors. Can I help you? Her tone said she doubted it. I'm Tanya Dupree, first day, executive assistant to Mr. Ong. Her eyes widened. Oh, yes, of course, let me... She fumbled with her phone. Mr. Leslie? She's here. A man appeared within 60 seconds. Tall, military bearing, eyes that cataloged everything about me in a glance. This was Leslie, Daeho's head of security, according to the onboarding documents I'd received. Miss Dupree, he extended a hand. Welcome. Mr. Ong is in a meeting, but he asked me to get you settled. Thank you. The elevator ride to the 72nd floor was silent. Leslie didn't make small talk, which I appreciated. When the doors opened, I stepped into a world of quiet efficiency. Assistants moved with purpose. Executives spoke in low voices. Everything was expensive and perfect. My office was smaller than I'd expected, but still bigger than Monica's living room. Windows overlooking the city. A desk that probably cost more than I made in a month. A computer system I'd need a manual to understand. Your credentials are set up. IT will be by this afternoon for training. Leslie handed me a badge. This gives you access to all floors, the executive dining room, and Mr. Ong's private elevator. Your schedule is synced to his calendar. Right now, you're to observe and learn. When do I meet with Mr. Ong? His meeting should finish in... Leslie checked his watch. Now. The door to the office next to mine opened, and Daeho walked out, followed by 3 executives in suits. He was mid-conversation. All business. Every inch the powerful CEO. Then he saw me, and everything softened. Tanya. He said it like he was coming home. You're here. First day. I tried to sound professional. Ready to work. The executives were staring. At me. At him. At the way he was looking at me like I was the only person in the building. He caught himself, straightened. Miss Dupree, welcome to Ong Global. Leslie, can you... Already handled, sir. IT this afternoon. Orientation materials sent to her email. Good. Daeho looked at the executives. Gentlemen, this is Tanya Dupree, my new executive assistant. She'll be attending all meetings going forward, learning the business. Treat her with the same respect you'd show me. One of them, older, silver-haired, clearly senior, raised an eyebrow. All meetings, Daeho, even the confidential ones? Especially those. His voice was steel wrapped in silk. Miss Dupree has my complete trust. Questions? The silver-haired man's eyes flicked to me, assessing. No questions. Welcome, Miss Dupree. They left, but the tension lingered. That was Director Cho, Daeho said when we were alone. Chief Operations Officer. He's been with the company for 30 years and thinks I'm too young to run it. He's probably right. Daeho laughed. Probably, but I'm doing it anyway. He gestured to his office. Come on, we should talk about expectations. His office was stunning. Floor-to-ceiling windows, minimalist furniture, and a view that made Atlanta look like a toy city. But what caught my attention was the photo on his desk. It was from a news article. Faded. Printed. 10 years old. Local teen saves foreign student in brutal attack. The photo showed me on a stretcher, conscious but clearly hurt, my hand still reaching towards someone off camera. Him. You kept this. My voice was barely a whisper. He looked at the photo, then at me. I've kept it for 10 years, looked at it every day. It reminded me why I was working so hard, why I was building all this. To find me. To be worthy of finding you. He sat on the edge of his desk. I was 16 and powerless. My father controlled everything. I couldn't stop him from taking me to Korea. Couldn't stop his lawyers from trying to silence your mother with that insulting offer. Couldn't do anything but promise myself that one day I'd be powerful enough to find you. To make it right. So you became CEO. At 23. Youngest in company history. My father thought I'd fail. Thought I'd beg him to take control back. He smiled, sharp. Instead, I thrived. Doubled revenue in 3 years. Expanded into new markets. Made myself indispensable. To prove you could find me? To prove I deserved to. He stood, walked to the windows. I know how this looks, Tanya. Rich guy finds poor girl, tries to save her. It's a cliché, it's probably offensive. But that's not what this is. What is it then? A second chance. For both of us. He turned. I meant what I said. I need someone I can trust. This world. He gestured to the office, the view, the empire, is full of people who want things from me. My name, my money, my connections. You're the only person who ever gave me something without expecting anything back. I expect a salary now, which you've earned, will earn. He pulled out a tablet. Today is orientation, learning the business, meeting the team, understanding what we do. Tomorrow you start actually working, coordinating my schedule, sitting in on meetings, handling correspondence. It's not glamorous. I didn't expect glamorous. Good, because it's mostly going to be long hours and difficult people and me being demanding. He smiled. But you'll have full access to everything. My calendar, my emails, my confidential meetings. I need you to know the business inside and out. Why? Because when people try to manipulate me, and they will, I need someone who can spot it. Someone who doesn't have a stake in company politics. Someone who's loyal to me, not the board or shareholders or their own agenda. That's a lot of trust for someone you barely know. I know you better than you think. He held my gaze. I know you work yourself to exhaustion. I know you refuse charity. I know you haven't bought new clothes in years because you send every spare dollar to debt collectors. I know you eat 1 meal a day. I know you're brilliant and stubborn and terrified of owing anyone anything. My chest tightened. That's creepy. That's a background check. He didn't apologize. I needed to understand your situation before I offered you a job. Professional due diligence. Or stalking. 6 months of watching from a distance, trying to work up the courage to contact you. His voice was quiet. I needed to know if you were happy, if you'd moved on, if reaching out would hurt you more than help. And your conclusion? That you've been surviving, not living, and that I could help, if you'd let me. I wanted to be angry. Wanted to tell him that invading my privacy was wrong, that watching me from afar was creepy, that this whole situation was problematic. But I was tired. So tired. And the idea of someone actually caring about whether I was happy, it made something in my chest crack. What happens if I can't do this job? I asked. Then I train you until you can. I didn't hire you for your corporate experience, Tanya. I hired you because I trust you. The rest we can teach. And if people question your judgment? Let them. He straightened. You ready for your first day? As ready as I'll ever be. Then let's go. Staff meeting in 10 minutes. You'll meet the executive team. The meeting was exactly as terrifying as I expected. 20 executives in a conference room that probably cost more than my mother's house. All of them staring at me, the new girl with no experience and a mysterious connection to the CEO. Daeho introduced me simply. Tanya Dupree, my new executive assistant. She has full access to all matters, confidential or otherwise. Treat her as an extension of me. Director Cho spoke up. With all due respect, Daeho, we typically vet executive assistants through HR, multiple interviews, background checks, trial periods. I've vetted her personally. That's sufficient. Perhaps, but the board may have questions about. The board can direct those questions to me. Daeho's voice was pleasant. His eyes were not. Miss Dupree is qualified, capable, and has my complete confidence. Unless someone has a specific concern about her ability to do the job? Silence. Good. Now, let's discuss Q4 projections. The meeting was a blur of numbers and strategies and corporate speak I barely understood. But I took notes. Watched how Daeho commanded the room. How people deferred to him even when they disagreed. How he listened, considered, then made decisions with absolute certainty. This was a different version of him. Not the nervous boy from the coffee shop. Not the vulnerable man who'd kept my photo for 10 years. This was the CEO. The heir. The man who ran an empire. And I was supposed to work beside him. When the meeting ended, a woman approached me. Late 30s, elegant in a way I'd never achieve. Her smile friendly but assessing. Soo-min Park, Director of Communications. She handed me a card. Welcome to the team. Thank you. Can I give you some advice? Off the record? She lowered her voice. People are going to be curious about you, about how you got this job, about your relationship with Daeho. There's no relationship. I'm his assistant. Of course. Her smile didn't change. But perception matters in this building. And right now the perception is that you're someone special. To him. I'm not. Then you should probably tell him to stop looking at you, like you're the only person in the room. She squeezed my arm, not unkindly. I'm not warning you away. I'm warning you to be careful. Corporate politics are brutal. And you're already at the center of them. She walked away, leaving me with a knot in my stomach. Daeho found me an hour later, still in my office, trying to process the morning. How was it? He asked. Overwhelming. It gets easier. Does it? Or do you just get used to feeling lost? He smiled. Both. He sat in the chair across from my desk. Soo-min talked to you. How did you? She talks to everyone new. It's her job to manage perceptions. He leaned back. What did she say? That people are curious about me, about us. Let them be curious. She said you look at me differently. His expression shifted. I do. Daeho! I know. Professional boundaries. I'm trying, Tanya. But it's difficult when you're sitting across from me and all I can think about is how you smiled at me in that coffee shop. How you said my name like it mattered. It does matter. But we agreed. We agreed not to act on it. I'm not acting. I'm just feeling. He stood. I should go. Board call in 5 minutes. Dinner tonight? Working dinner. He added quickly. Going over your responsibilities, setting expectations. Completely professional. Where? My place. I'll have food brought in. We can work without interruptions. Every instinct screamed that this was a bad idea. Working dinner at his place. Alone. But he was my boss. This was my job. What time? 7. Leslie will drive you. He paused at the door. Thank you, Tanya, for taking a chance on this, on me. Then he was gone, and I was left wondering if I'd just made the best or worst decision of my life. Chapter 5. His penthouse was ridiculous. Floor-to-ceiling windows, art that probably belonged in museums, A kitchen bigger than Monica's entire apartment, and Dae-ho, barefoot in jeans and a t-shirt, looking nothing like a CEO and everything like the boy I'd saved. "You changed," I said, still in my work clothes. "You can too, if you want. I keep spare clothes for guests. Probably something that would fit." "I'm fine. You're uncomfortable." He gestured to the couch. "Sit. Please. I ordered Thai food. I remembered you liked Pad See Ew." I froze. "How did you remember that?" "The ambulance. You were in and out of consciousness. At one point, you said you were supposed to pick up Pad See Ew for your mom on the way home. You were upset you'd forgotten." 10 years. He'd remembered something I'd said delirious in an ambulance 10 years ago. That's weird, I know. But I remember everything from that night. He sat across from me, careful to keep distance. "I remember you held my hand the entire ride, that you had a scar on your thumb from a kitchen accident, that your favorite color was purple because you liked how it looked against your skin, that you wanted to be a doctor because your grandmother died when you couldn't afford her medicine." My throat was tight. "I don't remember telling you all that." "You were scared, in pain, and you talked to keep me calm. You told me about your life, your dreams, your plans, and I listened like it was the most important conversation I'd ever had." "Because you were 16 and traumatized. Because you were the first person who talked to me like I was just Dae-ho. Not the Korean kid, not the foreign student, not the heir to On Global, just me." He leaned forward. "Do you understand what that meant? In a country where people saw my face and decided what I was before I opened my mouth? You saw someone who needed help, and you helped. No calculations, no agenda, just kindness. Anyone would have— No, they wouldn't have. There were other people on that street that night. They watched. They pulled out phones. They filmed. But they didn't help." His voice was fierce. "You helped. And I've never forgotten that." The food arrived before I could respond. We ate in silence, the city lights sprawling below us, the weight of everything unsaid hanging in the air. "We should work," I said finally. "That's why I'm here." "Right, work." He pulled out his tablet, all business again. "Your primary responsibilities: managing my calendar, screening requests for meetings, preparing briefing materials, attending all executive meetings to take notes and provide perspective. You'll also handle personal matters, travel arrangements, scheduling, that kind of thing. So I'm your assistant and your personal assistant. The lines blur. I need someone who can handle both." He scrolled through a document. "You'll travel with me. New York next month for investor meetings. Seoul in 6 weeks for the annual board meeting. Seoul, as in Korea. The company is Korean. The board meets there quarterly." He glanced up. "Is that a problem?" "I've never been out of the country." "Then this will be interesting." He smiled. "Don't worry. I'll make sure you're prepared. And my family—" He stopped. "My family won't be an issue." The way he said it made me suspicious. "What aren't you telling me?" "Nothing relevant to your job." "Dae-ho," he sighed. "My father isn't happy I hired you. My mother is concerned. They saw the news articles from 10 years ago. They know who you are. They remember that your mother refused their settlement offer. And they don't approve. They don't approve of anything I do. Hiring you is just the latest in a long line of disappointments." He said it lightly, but I heard the hurt underneath. "I don't want to cause problems with your family. You're not causing anything. They are." He set down the tablet. "My father tried to keep us apart 10 years ago. Sent you a check, designed to make you go away. An insult wrapped in legal threats. Took me to Seoul and told me to forget about you. And I let him. Because I was 16 and powerless and terrified. You were a kid. So were you. But you were brave." He stood, walked to the windows. "I'm not 16 anymore. I'm not powerless. And I'm done letting my father control my life. This job, I'm not a weapon in your family drama. You're not a weapon. You're a person I trust. If that makes my father uncomfortable, good. He should be uncomfortable. He's been making terrible decisions for years and the board keeps letting him because he's the founder. Daeho turned back to me. But I'm the CEO. I make the calls now, and I choose you. The intensity in his voice made my pulse race. We should finish going over my responsibilities, I said, desperate to get back to safe ground. Of course. He sat back down, professional mask back in place. Apologies. I'm passionate about this company. Sometimes it comes across as intense? That's a diplomatic word for it. We worked for another 2 hours. He explained the business, the key players, the politics I needed to navigate. He was patient, thorough, and careful not to overwhelm me. By the time Leslie drove me back to Monica's apartment, my head was spinning with information. But what I couldn't stop thinking about was the way Daeho had looked at me. Like I was the answer to a question he'd been asking for 10 years. Like I was the most important person in his world. And the terrifying part was, I was starting to look at him the same way. Chapter 6. 3 weeks passed in a blur. I learned the business faster than I expected. Turned out, years of nursing had taught me to think fast, prioritize and handle high-pressure situations. Corporate meetings were just triage with better clothes. I moved into my own apartment, small but mine. Paid for with my salary, not Daeho's charity. It felt like breathing again. The debt collectors stopped calling. Daeho had paid everything, as promised, separately from my employment. I'd signed documents making it clear I had no claim to anything beyond my salary. But the relief was overwhelming. For the first time in 10 years, I wasn't drowning. At work, I became indispensable. I anticipated Daeho's needs before he voiced them, handled difficult executives with diplomacy, caught errors in contracts that would have cost millions. Director Cho started nodding at me in the hallways. Soo-min asked me to coffee. The other assistants stopped looking at me like an imposter. I was becoming part of this world. And Daeho kept his promise. Professional, respectful, never crossing the line. But the tension was there. In every accidental touch, every shared glance during boring meetings, every late night working in his office, just the two of us and the city lights and the careful distance we maintained. We were playing with fire. Then Vivian Park walked into my office. I knew who she was instantly. The ex-fiancée. Daeho had mentioned her once, briefly when explaining why his mother was concerned about him hiring me. She was stunning. Model perfect in a way that made me feel like I was wearing goodwill again. Her suit probably cost what I made in a month. You must be Tanya. Her smile was pleasant. Her eyes were calculating. I'm Vivian Park. I was hoping we could talk. About? Daeho, and the mistake you're both about to make. Chapter 7. I should have asked her to leave. Instead, I gestured to the chair across from my desk. I have 15 minutes before Mr. Ong's next meeting. I'll be quick. She sat with the grace of someone who'd been trained from birth to move elegantly. I'm not here to be cruel, or to reclaim Daeho. That ship sailed 6 months ago when he ended our engagement. Then why are you here? To warn you, woman to woman. She crossed her legs. Do you know why Daeho and I were engaged? I assume you loved each other. She laughed. Love? No, it was business. My family owns Park Industries, semiconductors mostly. Daeho's family wanted the alliance. So did mine. We were compatible. Both understood the rules of this world. It would have worked. Sounds romantic. Romance is for people who can afford it. People like us. She gestured between us, then stopped. No, I suppose just me. People like me don't marry for love. We marry for strategy. What does this have to do with me? Daeho broke our engagement because of you. Don't look surprised. He told me himself. Said he'd found you after years of searching. That you were more important than any business alliance. Her expression was unreadable. I thought he was being dramatic. I didn't realize he meant it literally. We're not together. Not yet. But you will be. She leaned forward. And when you are, his family will destroy you. Is that a threat? It's reality. She pulled out her phone, showed me a photo. A family portrait. Dae-ho in a suit. His parents on either side. His sister Acha smiling politely. They looked like Korean royalty. Do you see how they look? That's power. Generations of it. They've built an empire and they don't let anyone threaten it. I'm not threatening anyone. I'm doing my job. You're the Black American woman their son hired 3 weeks after moving back to Atlanta. The same woman from the news articles 10 years ago. The one he's been obsessed with since he was 16. She showed me another photo, an article, from a Korean news site. My face. Dae-ho's name. Text I couldn't read. What is this? Korean media coverage. They dug up the original attack, found the connection between you two, started asking questions about why Dae-ho hired you. She scrolled. The comments are not kind. I didn't need to read Korean to understand the tone of the comments she showed me. They're saying I'm using him. Among other things. She put her phone away. I'm not showing you this to hurt you. I'm showing you what you're walking into. Dae-ho's family operates in a world you don't understand. They'll use every tool they have to separate you two. They'll destroy your reputation, ruin your career, make sure you never work in this industry again. Then they'll fail, because I don't care about this industry. I'm here temporarily. Are you? She tilted her head. Because from where I'm sitting, you're getting comfortable. Nice apartment, good salary, access to power you've never had. It's intoxicating, isn't it? I'm here to do a job. You're here because Dae-ho is in love with you. And you're falling for him too, whether you admit it or not. She stood. I'm not your enemy, Tanya. I'm trying to help you see reality. When, not if, when, his family comes for you, you won't be ready. And Dae-ho won't be able to protect you, not from them. Why are you really here? She paused at the door. Because I'm angry. I'm angry that I spent 2 years engaged to a man who never looked at me the way he looks at you. I'm angry that I played by all the rules and still lost to someone who doesn't even understand the game. Her smile was bitter. But mostly I'm here because part of me hopes you'll succeed. That you'll prove love matters more than strategy. That people like us don't have to sacrifice everything for family approval. You're rooting for me? Against my better judgment. She opened the door. Good luck, Tanya Dupree. You're going to need it. She left, and I sat staring at my desk, my heart racing. Dae-ho appeared minutes later. Was that Vivian? Yes. What did she want? To warn me about your family, to tell me I'm not ready for what's coming. I looked up at him. Is she right? He closed the door, sat in the chair Vivian had vacated. My family is complicated. That's not an answer. Yes, she's right. My family will come for you. They'll try to make your life difficult. They'll use every connection they have to pressure me to end this. End what? I'm your employee. Tanya. No. We agreed. Professional boundaries. I'm keeping those boundaries. But that doesn't change how I feel, or how they perceive the situation. He ran a hand through his hair. I should have told you. Should have prepared you, but I kept hoping they'd just accept it and move on. Accept what? That I hired you. That I'm not firing you. That I don't care what they think. He leaned forward. I won't let them hurt you. You can't promise that. I can try. His eyes were fierce. I meant what I said, Tanya. I choose you, even if that means fighting my own family. Before I could respond, my computer dinged. An email. From an address I didn't recognize. Subject. The truth about Tanya Dupree attached was a document. A dossier. On me. Every struggle. Every debt. Every eviction notice. My mother's cause of death. The scholarship I'd lost. Photos of me looking exhausted, desperate, broken, and a note. Is this who you want representing your company, Mr. Ong? Dae-ho was reading over my shoulder. His expression went dark. They sent this to the board, he said quietly. How do you know? Because I just got the same email. He pulled out his phone, typed something. And so did every executive in this building. My stomach dropped. Someone is trying to get me fired. Someone is trying to embarrass me into firing you. He stood. It won't work. Dae-ho, if the board sees this, let them see it. There's nothing in here that's shameful. You survived. You worked hard. You dealt with circumstances that would have broken most people. His voice was steel. Anyone who judges you for that can answer to me. This is going to cause problems. Good. I'm tired of avoiding problems. He looked at me and his expression softened. Go home. It's been a long day. I'll handle this. I can help. I know you can. But you shouldn't have to defend yourself for surviving. He touched my shoulder, brief and warm. Trust me, Tanya. I'll handle it. I went home because I didn't know what else to do. Monica was waiting with wine and concern. Girl, your face is all over Korean news, she said, shoving her phone at me. They're calling you the mystery woman who captured Dae-ho Ong. The articles were everywhere. My photo, Dae-ho's photo, speculation about our relationship, commentary on my background, my lack of qualifications, the suspicious circumstances of my hiring. They're destroying me, I whispered. They're trying to. Monica poured wine. But Dae-ho released a statement an hour ago. She showed me. A press release from Ong Global. Miss Tanya Dupree is a valued member of the Ong Global team. Her qualifications, character, and capabilities speak for themselves. Any attempts to malign her reputation or question her integrity will be met with legal action. This company stands behind all our employees, and Miss Dupree is no exception. Dae-ho Ong, CEO. Below it, a personal statement from Dae-ho's social media. 10 years ago, Tanya Dupree saved my life at great personal cost. She sacrificed her future to protect a stranger. She's the bravest person I know. I'm honored she's chosen to work with me. Anyone who has a problem with that can take it up with me directly. The comments were a mix of support and vitriol. But Dae-ho had put himself on the line. For me. He's fighting for you, Monica said. He's making it worse. Or he's making it clear where he stands. She squeezed my hand. You got to decide, T. You gonna run, or you gonna fight back? I thought about Vivian's warning. About the dossier. About the Korean media tearing apart my life. Then I thought about Dae-ho's statement. About the way he'd looked at me when he said I choose you. I'm going to fight, I said. Good. Monica grinned, because I didn't raise no quitter. Chapter 8. The next morning, I walked into Ong Global with my head high. People stared, whispered, but I didn't care. Dae-ho was waiting in my office. You came back, he said. Did you think I wouldn't? I hoped you would, but I would have understood if... I'm not running. Not from this. Not from them. I set down my bag. What happened with the board? Emergency meeting last night. They wanted to discuss your employment. My heart sank. And I told them Miss Dupree stays, that her employment is non-negotiable, that if they have a problem with my hiring decisions, they can bring it to a vote. He smiled. They declined. Just like that? Not exactly. Director Cho made some noise about optics and propriety. A few board members questioned my judgment. But in the end, they don't have grounds to fire you, and they know it. Because you're the CEO. Because you're good at your job. And because I made it clear that firing you means going to war with me. He leaned against my desk. I also may have reminded them that I control 45% of company shares, and that trying to force my hand would be unwise. You threatened them. I clarified the situation. His eyes were dark. No one gets to attack you and walk away clean. Not the board, not the media, not my family. Your family? Did they? My father called last night, demanded I fire you, said you were an embarrassment to the company, a distraction, He stopped, jaw clenching. I won't repeat what he called you? Pain lanced through me. What did you say? That he has no authority over my hiring decisions, that I'm the CEO, not him, and that if he ever speaks about you that way again, I'll remove him from the board entirely. Dae-ho, you can't. I can, and I will. He took my hands. I told you, I'll destroy anyone for you, I meant it. The touch was electric. Wrong. We were at work. But I couldn't make myself pull away. This is getting complicated, I whispered. I know. We said professional. I know that too. But he didn't let go. I'm trying, Tanya. But it's hard when you walk in here every day being brave and brilliant, and everything I've been searching for. I'm not everything. You are to me. The moment stretched, dangerous, perfect. Then Leslie knocked. Mr. Ong, conference call with Tokyo in 5. Dae-ho released my hands, stepped back. Thank you, Leslie. He looked at me. Dinner tonight? Working dinner, he added quickly, going over the New York trip logistics. Your place again? Unless you prefer somewhere else. Every rational part of my brain said this was a bad idea, that we were playing with fire, that eventually we'd get burned. But I was tired of being rational. 7 works, I said. His smile was devastating. 7. He left, and I sat at my desk, trying to calm my racing heart. This was dangerous. This was reckless. This was inevitable. Chapter 9. The dinner was supposed to be professional. It lasted 20 minutes before everything changed. We were going over the New York itinerary, investor meetings, hotel arrangements, the presentation I needed to prepare. But the tension was unbearable. Every glance, every accidental touch. Finally, Dae-ho set down his pen. I can't do this, he said. Can't do what? Pretend I'm not in love with you. The words hung in the air. Dae-ho, I know, professional boundaries. I know we agreed. But I'm breaking that agreement right now because I can't spend one more second acting like you're just my employee. He stood, paced to the windows. I'm in love with you, Tanya. I have been since I was 16 years old. And every day you walk into my office being brilliant and strong and everything I don't deserve, I fall deeper. I couldn't breathe. We can't. Why not? He turned. Give me one good reason why we can't try. Because you're my boss. Because your family hates me. Because the media is already tearing us apart, and we're not even together. Because this is insane and reckless and right. He crossed to me. This is right, Tanya. You feel it too. I know you do. Feeling something doesn't make it a good idea. No, but it makes it worth fighting for. He was so close now. I'll quit. I'll resign as CEO tomorrow. We can be equals. No power dynamic. No. You are not quitting for me. Then what? We just keep pretending. Keep dancing around this until one of us breaks? Maybe. I stood, frustrated. Maybe that's exactly what we do. Because the alternative is risking everything. My job, your company, both our futures, on something that might not even work. It will work. You don't know that. I know you. His voice was fierce. I know you're terrified because everyone you've ever cared about has left or died or let you down. I know you're protecting yourself, but Tanya, I'm not going anywhere. I've been searching for you for 10 years. You think I'm giving up now? What if your father's right? What if I am a distraction? What if this ruins everything you've built? Then I'll build something new. With you. He cupped my face, and I should have pulled away, but I couldn't. I don't care about the empire if I'm alone in it. That's the trauma talking. The gratitude for me saving you, it's not. Don't. His voice was sharp. Don't diminish this. Don't tell me I don't know my own heart. I'm 26 years old. I run $1 billion company. I make decisions that affect thousands of people. I think I can figure out that I'm in love with you. Dae-ho! He kissed me. Finally. Inevitably. 10 years of waiting compressed into a single moment. I should have stopped it. Should have pushed him away. Should have done the smart, professional, rational thing. Instead, I kissed him back. 10 years of distance collapsing into want and the terrifying realization that I'd been falling for him since the coffee shop, maybe since the ambulance. We broke apart and I was shaking. This is a terrible idea, I whispered. Worst idea I've ever had. We're going to regret this. Probably. He kissed me again, softer. But I regret not finding you sooner more. What do we do now? Now? He pulled back enough to look at me. Now we figure it out. Together. No more pretending. No more professional distance, just us. Your family will lose their minds. Let them. The board can deal with it. Dae-ho, you're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking more clearly than I have in years. He took my hands. I love you, Tanya Dupree, and I'm done hiding it. My phone buzzed. Then again. And again. I pulled it out. Messages from Monica. Check the news now, Tanya, call me. I pulled up the news and my blood went cold. Dae-ho Ong spotted with mysterious woman. Relationship or business. Photos. Of us. At his penthouse. Through the windows. Photos of us kissing. Someone had photographed us. From another. Building. Through the massive windows we'd forgotten about. And now it was everywhere. Oh God, I breathed. Dae-ho looked at my phone. His expression went dark. They're watching us. Who? I don't know, but someone hired a photographer. He was already calling Leslie. Get me security footage from all surrounding buildings for the last 3 hours, and find out who sold these photos. He hung up, looked at me. I'm sorry. For what? Kissing me? Or getting caught? For not protecting you better? For forgetting that my family would do anything to separate us? You think your family did this? Who else? His voice was bitter. My father warned me, said there would be consequences. I guess this is them. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered without thinking. Miss Dupree? A woman's voice. Professional. Cold. This is reporter Kim from Seoul Daily. I have some questions about your relationship with Dae-ho Ong. I hung up. It rang again. Different number. Miss Dupree, this is... I turned off my phone. They're going to swarm you, Dae-ho said. At work. At your apartment. They'll dig into everything. Let them dig. There's nothing to find. There's always something. They'll twist everything. Make you sound like... Like what? A gold digger? A manipulator? They're already saying that. I faced him. I'm not running, Dae-ho. I'm not hiding. We kissed. They have photos. Fine. Let's deal with it. You don't understand the scrutiny that's coming. Then help me understand. But don't ask me to apologize for this. For us. I stepped closer. You said you're done hiding. Prove it. Something fierce lit in his eyes. Okay. Okay? You want me to prove it? He grabbed his phone, opened his social media, started typing. The photos circulating are real. Tanya and I are together. She's not a distraction or a scandal. She's the woman I love. Anyone who has a problem with that can direct their concerns to me. D. He hit post before I could stop him. Are you insane? I grabbed his phone. You just told the entire world. The truth. Yes. He took the phone back. I'm done with half measures. Done with letting my family control my life. Done with pretending I don't love you. Your board is going to deal with it or find a new CEO. He pulled me close. I choose you, Tanya. Publicly, privately, in every way that matters. This is going to get ugly. Probably. He kissed my forehead. But we'll get through it. Together. I wanted to believe him. But as my phone started buzzing again, even turned off, the messages piled up. I knew the real battle was just beginning. Chapter 10. The fallout was immediate and brutal. By morning, we were everywhere. Korean news, American news, every gossip site and business publication, photos of us kissing, photos of me from 10 years ago, bloody and broken, photos of Daeho at 16, being loaded into an ambulance. The narrative was clear. Poor black girl saves rich Korean boy. 10 years later becomes his girlfriend. Obviously a calculated move. The comments were vicious. But Daeho's statement had done something unexpected. It split the narrative. Half the internet called me a gold digger. The other half called us a love story. Major news outlets started digging into the original attack. The hate crime, the trial, the fact that I'd nearly died saving a stranger. From hero to girlfriend, the Tanya Dupree story. Daeho Ong's decade-long search for the woman who saved him. Love or debt, the complicated relationship of ONG Global's CEO. I walked into work Monday morning expecting chaos. I got something else. Applause. The junior staff, assistants, analysts, entry-level employees started clapping as I walked through the lobby. Soft at first, then growing. Someone shouted, "Get it, girl!" Another, "Love wins." I made it to my floor in a daze. Daeho was waiting by my office, a coffee in each hand. He looked exhausted. Beautiful. Defiant. "You okay?" he asked. "I think your staff just cheered for me." The younger ones love it. Apparently we're #relationship goals. He handed me coffee. The older executives are less enthusiastic. How much less? Director Cho called an emergency board meeting for this afternoon to discuss my fitness to lead. My stomach dropped. They're going to try to remove you. They're going to try. His smile was sharp. They'll fail. How can you be so sure? Because I own 45% of voting shares. My sister owns another 15. They'd need unanimous support from the remaining 40% to outvote me. He sipped his coffee. And Acha already texted me this morning. She's voting with me. Your sister is supporting this? She said, and I quote, "About time you did something interesting instead of just being perfect all the time." He laughed. She likes you, thinks you're good for me. She's never met me. She's been following the news coverage. Apparently you went viral on Korean social media. There's a whole hashtag Tanya the Hero or something. Before I could process that, Sumin appeared. Daeho, we need damage control strategy. The Korean media is going insane. The American business press is speculating about instability, and I've had 47 interview requests in the last hour. Deny them all. Even Forbes, they want to do a profile on both of you, the CEO and the woman who saved him. Daeho looked at me. Your call. Me. You're part of this now. You get a say in how we handle it. I thought about Vivian's warning, about protecting myself, about the smart, safe choice. Then I thought about Daeho posting that statement, about choosing me publicly. Do the interview? I said. But on our terms. We tell the story right. The truth. No spin. Sumin nodded. I'll set it up. But Tanya, you need media training. Today, before the board meeting, you're about to be in every spotlight simultaneously. The next 6 hours were a crash course in public relations. How to answer questions without saying too much. How to redirect. How to look confident even when you're terrified. How to handle hostile interviewers. By the time the board meeting started, my head was spinning. Daeho squeezed my hand before going in. Stay close. If this goes badly, we leave together. It's not going to go badly. You don't know my board. He was right. The meeting was savage. I sat in the observation room, where assistants and advisors waited during closed sessions, watching through the glass partition. I couldn't hear everything, but I could see. Director Cho was on the attack, gesturing, showing something on a screen. Dae-ho remained calm, but I could see the tension in his shoulders. Then Chairman Ong, Dae-ho's father, appeared via video conference. The temperature in the room dropped. I couldn't hear what he said, but I saw Dae-ho's expression go cold, saw him stand, say something sharp. Chairman Ong's face turned red. The board members shifted uncomfortably. Then Ah-cha appeared on another screen. Younger than I expected. Beautiful and fierce. She said something, and several board members looked surprised. The debate continued. Heated. Tense. Finally a vote. Hands raised. Counted. Dae-ho remained CEO, 7-5. It was close. Too close. When he exited the boardroom, he looked drained. You won, I said. Barely. He pulled me into a conference room, closed the door. My father demanded I fire you and end the relationship. Said it was destroying the company's reputation in Korea. Cho backed him up. Half the board agreed. But you won. Because Ah-cha threatened to sell her shares to a hostile buyer if they removed me. And because 3 board members are more afraid of her than my father. He sat heavily. This isn't over, Tanya. My father is planning something. I can feel it. Like what? I don't know. But he didn't get where he is by accepting defeat gracefully. We found out what 2 days later. I was at my apartment, my own place, finally feeling like home, when someone knocked. I opened the door to find a process server. Tanya Dupree, you've been served. He handed me papers and left. I stood in my doorway reading the lawsuit, my blood going cold. Chairman ONG versus Tanya Dupree. Claim, undue influence and tortious interference. Plaintiff claims defendant used her position to manipulate Dae-ho Ong's business decisions, damaged family relationships, and interfered with contractual obligations to Ong Global and the Ong family. Damages sought. $50 million. The papers shook in my hands. Dae-ho's father was suing me. Personally. For $50 million I didn't have. For loving his son. I called Dae-ho. He answered immediately. He's suing me, I said, voice breaking. I know. I just got served too. He's suing both of us. Fury vibrated in his voice. I'm coming over. Don't. There might be photographers. I don't care about photographers. I care about you. He arrived 20 minutes later, Leslie and 2 lawyers in tow. The lawyers explained. Chairman Ong was claiming I'd manipulated Dae-ho, used my history with him to gain employment, damaged the company's reputation, caused family discord. It was bullshit. But expensive bullshit that would tie us up in court for years. He can't win, one lawyer said, but he can make the process painful, depositions, discovery, years of legal fees. He's trying to break me, I said quietly. He's trying to scare you into leaving. Dae-ho's voice was steel. It won't work. Dae-ho, $50 million. Is money I'll pay if it comes to it, but it won't. Because we're going to fight this. He looked at the lawyers. I want counterclaims, harassment, abuse of process, whatever you can throw at him. That will escalate things, the senior lawyer warned. Good, let it escalate. I'm done playing defense. After the lawyers left, Dae-ho pulled me close. I'm sorry, he said into my hair. This is my fault. It's your father's fault. Same thing. My family. My responsibility. He pulled back to look at me. But I meant what I said. I'll destroy anyone for you, including my own father. I don't want you to destroy your family. They're destroying themselves. I'm just defending what's mine. His eyes were fierce. You are what's mine, Tanya, if you'll have me. Lawsuits and all. This is insane. I know. We've known each other as adults for like 6 weeks. 7, but who's counting? This should scare me away. Should it? He touched my face. Because if you want to run, I understand. This is a lot. My family is a nightmare. The media. Attention is overwhelming. The lawsuit is... I kissed him. Partly to shut him up. Partly because I needed to. When we broke apart, he was smiling. I'm going to take that as I'm staying, he said. I'm staying. But Dae-ho, we need to be smart about this. Define smart. Your father is powerful, connected. He's going to use every resource to separate us. I took his hands. We need to be strategic. Fight smart, not just hard. What are you thinking? Public opinion. Your father is counting on Korean conservatism, on people thinking I'm inappropriate for you. But what if we change that narrative? How? The Forbes interview. We tell our story. The truth. Not sanitized, not corporate, just us. Understanding lit his eyes. Show them you're not some opportunist, that we're real. And that your father is the one being unreasonable, suing his own son's girlfriend for loving him? That's not a good look. You're brilliant. I'm desperate. There's a difference. No, you're brilliant. He kissed me again. We do this together. The interview, the lawsuit, everything. Together, I agreed. The Forbes interview happened 2 weeks later. In a neutral location, not Dae-ho's office, not his penthouse. Just a quiet room with 2 reporters and a photographer. They asked everything. About the attack. About the 10-year search. About my mother's debt. About how we fell in love. We told them the truth. Dae-ho talked about being 16 and terrified and watching a stranger throw herself in front of a car to save him. About spending 10 years trying to find me. About the moment he finally did. I talked about survival. About debt. About working myself to exhaustion. About the letter that changed everything. About my mother refusing the Ong family's insulting settlement offer because she knew I was worth more than hush money. Do you love him? The reporter asked me. I looked at Dae-ho, at the man who'd spent 10 years searching for me, who'd fought his family and his board and the entire world to be with me. Yes, I said simply. I love him. Even with everything happening? The lawsuit? The media scrutiny? Especially with all that, because he's choosing me anyway, despite the cost. The reporter turned to Dae-ho. Your father is suing her for $50 million. He's essentially trying to buy her out of your life. How do you respond? Dae-ho's expression was calm, cold. My father doesn't get to choose who I love. He doesn't get to intimidate or threaten or sue his way into controlling my life. I'm 26 years old. I run a successful company. And I'm in love with an extraordinary woman who saved my life twice. Once from a car, once from a life without meaning. He took my hand. If he wants to waste money on a frivolous lawsuit, that's his choice. But it won't change mine. I choose Tanya, every time. The article came out a week later. The CEO and the woman who saved him, inside Dae-ho Ong and Tanya Dupree's unlikely love story. It was beautiful. Fair. They told our story with empathy and honesty. The response was overwhelming. Public opinion shifted. Suddenly, we weren't a scandal. We were a love story. People started sharing their own stories of sacrifice and love against the odds. Hashtag Tanya and Dae-ho started trending. The lawsuit looked petty, cruel, a powerful father trying to control his adult son's life. Korean media began questioning Chairman Ong's judgment. American media painted him as out of touch. 3 days after the article published, he dropped the lawsuit. No explanation. Just withdrawn. Dae-ho and I celebrated quietly, in his penthouse, with takeout and relief. We won, I said. We survived. He pulled me close. There's a difference. Your father isn't going to just give up. No, but we proved we can fight back. Together. He kissed my temple. I have something to ask you. That sounds ominous. It's not. It's just... He pulled back, suddenly nervous. Come to Seoul with me, next month. Board meeting. Meet my sister properly. See where I'm from. Meet your family? After your dad just sued me? Not my parents. They're not invited. Just Acha. And the board. And he smiled. I want you to see my world. All of it. Good and bad. I don't speak Korean. I'll translate. Your board already hates me. Some of them. Others are curious. Especially after the Forbes piece. He took my hands. I'm not asking you to be someone you're not. I'm asking you to be exactly who you are, in Seoul, where I'm from, so you can understand all of me. It was terrifying. And perfect. Okay, I said. I'll go. His smile could have lit the city. Yeah. But you're teaching me some Korean first. I'm not walking into that boardroom completely helpless. Deal. We had 3 weeks before the Seoul trip. 3 weeks of relative peace. Work. Late nights. Falling deeper in love. 3 weeks of thinking maybe, just maybe, we'd made it through the worst. We were wrong. The night before, our flight to Seoul, I got a call from the hospital where my mother had been treated. Miss Dupree, we need to inform you. There's been a data breach. Your mother's medical records, including financial information, were accessed illegally. My blood went cold. By who? We're investigating, but we're required to notify you that the information may be used maliciously. I hung up and immediately called Dae-ho. Someone accessed my mother's records, I said, right before we leave for Seoul. He was quiet. Then, it's not a coincidence. What do you mean? My father. He's planning something. His voice was grim. He's going to use whatever he found against us in Seoul, in front of the board. He can't prove anything. There's nothing to find. He doesn't need proof. He needs doubt, suspicion, a reason for the board to question my judgment. Dae-ho sighed. We should cancel. Stay here. Deal with this on home ground. No. My voice was firm. We go to Seoul. We face whatever he's planning. Together. Tanya, you said you choose me. Prove it. In front of your board, in your father's territory. Silence. Then, okay. But stay close. Whatever happens, we face it together. Together, I agreed. We landed in Seoul the next evening and walked straight into a nightmare. Chapter 11. Seoul was beautiful and overwhelming and completely foreign. Dae-ho had warned me, but nothing could have prepared me for the scrutiny. The moment we stepped off the plane, cameras flashed. Korean reporters shouted questions I couldn't understand. Security had to clear a path. Is it always like this? I asked in the car. Only when I bring home the woman my father tried to destroy. He squeezed my hand. Welcome to Korea. The hotel was luxury incarnate. Our suite had a view of the city that took my breath away. Tomorrow is the board meeting, Dae-ho said, loosening his tie. My father will be there, in person. And your mother? She's not on the board, but she'll probably appear anyway. His expression was tight. I need to warn you, they're going to be hostile, not just disapproving, actively hostile. I can handle hostile. Not like this. Korean corporate culture is different. Family hierarchy matters more. My father isn't just the founder. He's practically royalty, and I'm the son who's defying him publicly. For me. For us. He turned to face me. Whatever happens tomorrow, whatever they say, don't let them make you feel small. You're worth 10 of them. You're biased. I'm honest. He kissed me softly. Get some rest. Tomorrow's going to be brutal. He was right. The board meeting was in Ong Global's Seoul headquarters, a building that made the Atlanta office look modest. All glass and steel and Korean architectural precision. The boardroom was massive. 20 people sat around a table that could have seated 50. All of them turned to look when we entered. Chairman Ong sat at the head. Older than his photos. Cold-eyed. Powerful. He looked at me like I was dirt. Dae-ho, his voice was measured. You brought her. Her name is Tanya, and yes, I brought my girlfriend to the board meeting, as is my right as CEO. Girlfriend. Chairman Ong smiled without warmth. How quaint. Ha was there too, younger than Dae-ho with Sharp eyes and a sharper smile. She winked at me when her father wasn't looking. The meeting began in Korean. Dae-ho translated in whispers, but I could feel the tension escalating. Then Chairman Ong pulled out a folder. "Since we're discussing corporate governance," he said in English, for my benefit, "let's discuss Miss Dupree's qualifications." "We've been through this," Dae-ho started. "Humor me." Chairman Ong opened the folder. Miss Dupree worked as a nursing assistant for 4 years. Income, approximately $32,000 per year. Debt, over $60,000. Evicted twice. No college degree, no corporate experience. He looked at me. "Tell me, Miss Dupree, what exactly qualifies you to be executive assistant to the CEO of a billion-dollar company?" Every eye was on me. "I saved your son's life," I said evenly. "I think that qualifies me for a lot." "Ah, yes, the heroic rescue. Very convenient." He pulled out more papers. "I've had investigators look into that. Night. Interesting findings." Dae-ho tensed beside me. "The attack was a hate crime," Chairman Ong continued. 3 young men harassing Korean students. All caught. All convicted. But here's what's interesting. The settlement offer we made to your family. $50,000. Your mother refused it. "She refused $5,000 with strings attached," I corrected. "A check that required us to sign NDAs, waive all legal claims, and essentially let your family bury what happened. It wasn't a settlement. It was hush money. And my mother had more dignity than that." The room went silent. Chairman Ong's expression darkened. "Your mother refused legitimate compensation because of pride, and then spent the next several years drowning in debt. Debt that killed her." He leaned forward. "Tell me, Miss Dupree, do you think your mother would have made the same choice if she'd known it would cost her her life?" The cruelty of the question stole my breath. "Don't answer that," Dae-ho said, voice dangerous. "My father doesn't get to use your grief as a weapon. I'm simply pointing out that Miss Dupree's family made poor financial decisions, and now she's positioned herself to benefit from my son's gratitude." Chairman Ong sat back. Convenient timing, wouldn't you say? "There's nothing convenient about watching my mother work herself to death," I said, voice shaking. "Nothing convenient about losing my scholarship. Nothing convenient about 10 years of struggling to survive. Your lawyers offered us an insult, and my mother refused because she knew I was worth more than what you were offering. She was right." "Was she?" "Because here you are, taking far more than $50,000 from my son. Salary, debt repayment, housing. How much has Dae-ho given you in total, Miss Dupree?" "Everything he offered was tied to employment. A job I've earned by being good at it. Or a job you manipulated him into giving you by leveraging a 10-year-old incident." He pulled out the medical records, the ones that had been illegally accessed. "Your mother's cancer treatment began 6 months before the attack. The bills were already piling up. Your family was already in financial crisis. And then this attack happens, an opportunity for a payout. How fortunate." "You're suggesting I orchestrated a hate crime?" My voice rose. "That I threw myself in front of a car on purpose?" "I'm suggesting you've been very strategic about capitalizing on that night, about inserting yourself into my son's life when he was most vulnerable to your influence. Enough." Dae-ho stood, his voice cutting through the room like a blade. "You've crossed every line. You illegally obtained private medical records. You're twisting a tragedy into some conspiracy theory, and you're attacking the woman I love because you can't control me anymore." "I'm protecting this company. You're protecting your ego." Dae-ho's hands slammed on the table. "You can't stand that I don't need you, that I built this company into something successful without your interference, that I chose my own path, my own life, my own love. If you choose her, you choose to destroy everything this family built. No, you're the one destroying it, with your prejudice, your cruelty, your inability to see Tanya as anything but a threat to your control." He turned to the board. I'm giving you a choice. Me or him. Because I won't work under a board that allows this kind of harassment. That permits illegal invasions of privacy. That judges people based on their bank account instead of their character. The board members looked uncomfortable. Caught between the founder and the CEO. A-Cha stood. I vote for Dae-ho, and I move to remove Chairman Ong from the board for cause, specifically obtaining medical records through illegal means and using them to harass an employee. The room erupted. You can't, Chairman Ong started. I can. I have 15% voting power, and I'm using it. She looked around the table. Anyone else want to support a chairman who commits crimes to control his adult son's personal life? One by one, hands went up. Not all of them, but enough. Chairman Ong was voted out. 7-13, he left the boardroom in fury, his wife following. But we'd won. Dae-ho pulled me close, shaking. I just expelled my father from his own company. He expelled himself, A-Cha said, approaching us. By being a monster. She extended her hand to me. Tanya Dupree. I'm A-Cha. Sorry our first meeting was so dramatic. I shook her hand. Thank you for standing up for us. Thank you for making my brother interesting for once. She grinned. He was so boring before you. All work, no scandal. I could do with less scandal, Dae-ho said. Where's the fun in that? A-Cha sobered. But seriously, father is going to be furious. He'll try to retaliate. You two need to be careful. What can he do? He's off the board. He still has influence, connections, money. She looked at me. And he really, really hates losing. She was right to warn us. That night, Korean media exploded with the story. Chairman Ong gave an interview, painting himself as the victim. Dae-ho as the ungrateful son. Me as the manipulator who destroyed a family. But something unexpected happened. The Korean public didn't buy it. They'd seen the Forbes article. They knew the real story. And a powerful father suing and harassing his son's girlfriend for loving him? That didn't play well. The hashtag shifted. Hashtag stand with Tanya and Dae-ho. Hashtag Chairman Ong is wrong. We'd won the public opinion battle, but the personal battle was just beginning. Dae-ho's mother called. He put her on speaker. You've humiliated your father, she said in accented English. Destroyed his legacy. For what? For her? For my right to choose my own life, Dae-ho said calmly. Father destroyed his own legacy by trying to control mine. You're making a terrible mistake. No, I'm finally making the right choice. He looked at me. I love her, mother, and I'm not giving her up. Not for father. Not for the company. Not for anyone. Silence. Then you've chosen. Don't expect forgiveness? She hung up. Dae-ho pulled me close. My family is officially done with me. I'm sorry. I'm not. He kissed my hair. I have you. I have A-Cha. I have a company I built myself. That's enough. Is it? It's everything. Chapter 12. 3 months later, we stood in a new office. Ong Global Americas, split from the Korean parent company. Dae-ho as CEO, A-Cha running the Korean operations. Chairman Ong forced into retirement by the board's vote of no confidence. It had been brutal. Legal battles, stock splits, media scrutiny. But we'd survived. The new office was smaller, leaner, but it was ours. No regrets? I asked Dae-ho as we looked out over Atlanta. A few. But not about you. Never about you. He pulled me close. I gave up half an empire for you. Actually, you gave up half an empire to escape your father and chose me in the process. Semantics. He kissed my temple. But accurate. My phone buzzed. A text from Monica. News is reporting Chairman Ong resigned from Korean board. A-Cha is new CEO. Girl, your man's sister is running things. I showed Dae-ho. He smiled. She's better at it than I ever was. You're just saying that because you're happy here. I'm happy because I'm with you. The location is secondary. 6 months after that, Daeho proposed. Not in front of cameras, not at a press conference, just us, on the roof of our new building, watching the sunset over Atlanta. Marry me, he said simply. Not because of the debt I owe you, not because of the past, because I can't imagine my future without you in it. I looked at the ring. Simple, elegant, perfect. That's the best proposal I've ever heard. It's the only proposal you've ever heard. Still the best. I kissed him. Yes, absolutely yes. The wedding was small. Just friends. Monica, Acha, Leslie, people who'd stood by us through everything. Chairman and Mrs. Ong didn't come. Their absence was noted and ignored. As I walked down the aisle to Daeho, I thought about that night 10 years ago. The scared boy. The car. The choice to be brave. I'd lost everything that night and gained everything that mattered. You okay? Daeho asked as we said our vows. Perfect. You? I've been waiting 10 years for this. I'm better than perfect. We kissed, and it felt like coming home. Like the end of a journey that had started with sacrifice and ended with choice. Later, at the reception, Acha pulled me aside. Thank you, she said. For what? For saving my brother. Twice. She smiled. Once from a car, once from a life of misery under our father's control. He saved himself the second time. Only because you showed him it was possible? She hugged me. Welcome to the family. The non-terrible part of it. Daeho found us. Stealing my wife already? Your wife. God, that's going to take getting used to. Acha winked. But I approve. She left us alone. Daeho pulled me close. Happy? He asked. Deliriously. Good, because I have plans for you, Mrs. Ong. I kept my name. Mrs. Dupree, then. Also no, just Tanya. Just Tanya. He smiled. I can work with that. We danced, and I thought about the Forbes reporter's question. Do you love him? I'd said yes then. I'd say yes now. I'd say yes forever. Because some debts aren't really debts. Some sacrifices aren't really sacrifices. Sometimes you save someone's life and they save yours right back. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, you get to spend the rest of your life proving that love is worth more than any empire. I was very lucky. The end. So, what would you do? If someone you saved 10 years ago came back offering everything you'd lost, would you risk it? Trust them? Or walk away? Drop your answer below. I read every single comment, and honestly, your answers shape what I create next. Quick thing, this channel is becoming V's Afro Soul Love. Yep, my actual name is VLOL. More personal, more us. What do you think? Any suggestions? Now, hit like if you believe love is worth the fight, even when the world says no. Subscribe and turn on notifications because what's coming next will blow your mind. Trust me, and share this with someone who needs to believe in second chances. That sometimes the person you save ends up saving you right back. Before you go, tell me, Team Tanya or Team Daeho? What moment made you fall for this story? Want more interracial romances like this? Remember, you are priceless. You are worthy. Your love story is waiting. Now go be brave like Tanya. Choose love like Daeho. See you in the next story.